Good day. I am Eric Lang with CDM Smith, and I'm going to be discussing the results of the economic impact study for the Huntington Tri-State Airport. The last economic impact study was conducted in 2006, and since that time there have been some significant changes that have taken place at the airport. Most notably, Allegiant Air has started service and employments have more than doubled since the last study. As a result, the Kiowa Interstate Planning Commission felt it was worthwhile to conduct a new economic impact study that would quantify the jobs, payroll, and output attributed to the airport. The information from this study can be used to help educate stakeholders, local decision makers, politicians, and others in an effort to help support additional infrastructure investment out at the airport. Before I get to the results of the study, I want to talk briefly about the economic impact model used to determine these results. This model starts with what we call direct impacts, and these are the initial point of entry for economic activity. Several categories that we account for at the airport. The most notable is the on-airport impacts attributed to things like the airlines, the airport gift shop, rental car companies, air traffic control, things of that nature. A couple other categories include capital improvements. These are things such as runway extensions or hangar construction that support jobs and business in the engineering, construction, and consulting industry. And then finally, visitors that arrive via commercial airlines or private aircraft wind up leaving the airport and spending money in the region at hotels and restaurants. Now, beyond these direct impacts, there are what we call multiplier impacts. So that waiter at the restaurant, he spends money on utility bills, possibly a mortgage, buys gasoline in the area being modeled, in this case, the tri-state region, and that can occur multiple times. And the model takes into account how often those impacts recirculate or multiply within the region before they leak beyond the boundaries. So together, the multiplier impacts plus the direct impacts result in the total impacts attributed to the Huntington Tri-State Airport. The study found the Tri-State Airport supports 1,275 jobs with a payroll of nearly $55 million and output of more than $108 million. The study also found that $2.6 million in income and sales taxes could be attributed to the airport. This details how the output at Tri-State Airport is built up by the various categories. As you can see, on-airport is the biggest component, followed by commercial service visitors. I want you to keep this in mind when we go to the next slide where we look at how Tri-State Airport compares to various classes of other airports. This compares the number of direct jobs at various classes of airports based on their number of emplacements. Huntington Tri-State Airport is a non-hub, which includes airports with between 10,000 and 400,000 emplacements. While the number of jobs at large hub airports, the Hartsfields and O'Hares of the national airport system, dwarf those found at the other classes of airports, the slide illustrates how significant the commercial service visitor impacts are relative to the total. For large hubs, they comprise around 2/3 of the total impact and nearly 3/4 at the medium hubs. For small hubs, you can see that commercial service visitor impacts account for over half of the total impacts. I'll take away the small, medium, and large hub results in order to see the detail of the other airports. We can see that commercial service visitor impacts at the non-hub airports exceed the on-airport component, but that is not the case at Tri-State. The reason for this is the nature of air service at the airport. Huntington is served by two airlines, American and Allegiant. The passengers on a typical airline are between 30 and 50% visitors. American falls within this band. Allegiant, however, serves a niche market, specializing in taking passengers to vacation destinations in Florida and South Carolina. As a result, only 5% of Allegiant's passengers are visitors to the Tri-State region. This is a great service for the residents of Huntington and the surrounding area, but it doesn't translate into economic benefits for the region as well as typical airline service would. And since Allegiant enplanes 2/3 of the total passengers at Huntington, the commercial service visitor impact for the airport is understated relative to similar airports. To provide some context, we'll take a look at how these results stack up against peer airports and the previous study. As you can see, the current results are significantly higher than the total employment from the 2006 study. However, it lags behind the non-hub airport average as well as Yeager Airport, which is not surprising since Yeager has approximately twice the number of employments that Tri-State does. When we look at payroll and output, we see both have significantly grown since the 2006 study. Note that payroll exceeds the average payroll at non-hub airports, but output falls short of the non-hub average. Part of this is explained by the presence of air traffic control and TSA. Both of these occupations have higher than average compensation, but unlike, for example, an aircraft repair facility, the services they provide don't generate a correspondingly high output. Huntington has done well to secure these services. For example, most airports don't receive air traffic control services until they have at least 50,000 annual operations. Huntington, with only 12,000 annual operations, has done well to secure this valuable service. What Huntington doesn't have that is often found at non-hub airports is a base charter operation or aircraft maintenance and repair facility, both of which would help drive up output as well as payroll. Huntington's airport director, Brent Brown, has been actively pursuing an aircraft maintenance business for the airport, and this illustrates one more benefit to doing so. That concludes this presentation on the economic impacts of Huntington Tri-State Airport. Thank you for your time.